and mourn for
Shalom,
him.
shalom, Israel. First and foremost, we have all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahawah, Hashem, Yahawashi, Hashem, Bakwapadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of the millstone. Shalom to my Akim, Wakwakim, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this dark captivity. Shalom to the speckled brother may look like the other nations, but are actually Yasharala. This is Brother Kawakam coming at you with another lesson. And today's lesson is going to be on a comment response, all right, on this comment over here, this comment by 13 Moorish man, alright, where they say it's common sense if you have a Yisraelite mother, which it's not Yisraelite, that is Yiddish, which Yiddish is a mixture, I believe it's German and something else, I forgot what it was. But that is not the ancient language of the Israelites, alright, which again, this is just a part of the mass deception, right, that's going on to not just our people but the people in general, where they think that that whole Yiddish thing is the true language of Yahawadah when it's actually not. All right. So continuing on, or a father, you are still a Yisraelite. Brothers, teach this and slack it. That was and I did a lesson on this. I literally did a lesson on this where it was, if you were going to make a comment, take the time to proofread it and edit it and make sure that it is properly structured so that I can have a better time understanding what you're trying to say, because I hate these kinds of comments. There's no comma, there's no period, there's no anything. It's just like, it's just one whole run-on sentence of all your thoughts in one thing, which I just hate doing this. I hate reading this stuff and trying to figure out what someone's trying to say. All right, but continuing on, brothers teach this because of a misconception of the scriptures that they don't understand. Great questions. Slocky got me tongue tied. But basically, this I feel, okay, and maybe I might be wrong, but I feel that this person came in such a proud spirit, because what the fuck are you talking about, great question, when you just demonstrated, number one, you did not watch my video, number two, you're the one with the lack of understanding, because I literally referenced the scriptures, the Torah, mind you, over here. Let me actually get this, Numbers 118.
How can they mourn for somebody that is resurrected and
Numbers 1 verse 18, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upwards by their polls. So it says the pedigrees are by the house of their fathers, meaning that what your father is, that's what determines what your pedigree or your ethnicity is. It is not by your mother. So already, and I bet if I just go over here, all right. Slack it. If I go over here and I go scroll, I literally show. I did read Numbers 1 and 18. Okay, I literally showed it that yes, it is determined. Your ethnicity is determined by the house of your father, not by your mother. Your mother is, even the title says the mother doesn't define in Israel, and this person just goes against the title and the evidence that I brought out. All right, let me actually see this.
Now return to the Lord your God, for he is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, abounding in loving kindness, and relenting in evil. Zechariah chapter 7 verse 5, we also find people fasting and mourning.
Numbers is a part of the Torah. So how do you not know this? How are you, unless you're reading another version that just flat out lies, all right, you're wrong. You're just wrong, all right. So again, this person went against logic, went against the scriptures, went against the title of my video, did not watch my video anyway, but just commented when they saw either just it's like they didn't see the title. They saw this person asking this question, went to my video, and that's it. They just saw this person and didn't care about any of the evidence that I brought to this stuff. But it's like this is the type of stuff. This is the type of stuff that is just like wild to me. It doesn't make any sense in the slightest how you're going to make a comment on a video so uneducated, so ill-informed, all right, that just goes against facts. I literally just showed evidence and facts that the mother does not determine. That's why when you, I even say speckled bird. For a speckled bird, that is an example of let's say, for example, I always go to Chinese because I don't like saying Edomites, but it does apply to Edomites as well. So, for example, if a so-called black man, all right, goes to, or an Israelite man, more specifically, goes to China, has moved, migrated or immigrated to China, all right, 200 years ago. He has a kid with a so-called Chinese woman. That kid comes out looking half Chinese, so-called half Chinese, so-called half black, so-called half Israelite. Then that kid is darker than his mother, but lighter than his father. And that kid, that boy, gets with another full Chinese woman. All right. Then he has another kid. The kid becomes lighter. All right, lighter than him, but still maybe a little darker than his mother. Then that kid goes and has another kid. That boy has another kid with another full Chinese woman, and then that kid looks like a full-on Chinese person. That does not disqualify the fact that that boy, that Chinese-looking kid, is still a 100% Israelite. It does not determine your ethnicity is not determined based off of what you look like or who your mother is. It's only determined by your father. That's why you can have. That's why you have speckled bird, all right? As I said, that have their parents. Their parents that may look like the other nations, but their parents they may look like the other nation, but they are actually Israelites, all right? Not based off their appearance, but based off their father's bloodline. If your father's bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then you are in fact an Israelite. You are not an Israelite based off of this person has dark skin, because then that would just mean that the so-called Africans are all Israelites as well. When that's not the case, all right? The Lord said, let me actually get that.
The Greek translation is correct. What's the problem with translating etasher like the JPS? So
in Exodus, I believe.
For the sake of argument, that etasher means concerning whom or about whom. Okay? If we go with that translation, which is a possible translation, it is possible. But if we go with that translation, then there's a real problem with the word dakahu. They pierced. In other words, the Hebrew means they pierced as an active verb. Whom they pierced. But now suddenly, if we read it literally, okay, here would be a literal translation of what they're proposing. Okay? And they will look to me concerning they pierced. Which, of course, doesn't make any sense. In other words, at this point, if I'm going to go about whom or concerning whom, then suddenly I have a nonsensical text. And so the only way to make this nonsensical
Exodus 11, verse 7, Slakia. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how the Lord doeth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So there's a difference between, because let's think, the Israelites, they were dark-skinned. The Egyptians, they were also dark-skinned, but there was definitely a difference or a way to identify the difference between the two, because they were not the same people. All right, so all these people are saying that, oh, if you're dark skinned, you're an Israelite, then no, they're just wrong. It's not about your appearance. It's not about only being a so-called black, because the so-called Native Americans, and not the Native Americans, the so-called Hispanics. All right, they came to South America white. They came to South America dark. all right, and then now they're white, all right. So that's where you get this thing. People are saying all these incorrect, factually incorrect, making these factually incorrect statements, always trying to go against what the Lord set up, all right. So yeah, I'm not missing anything. So yes, basically this whole thing, again, it's not based on anything. And also, another thing is it's like you're trying to correct me, and you don't even have anything to back the things that you say up. That's one of the things that I hate. Where why the fuck are you came to my video to try to correct me rather than doing your own research. And I went to this person's channel. He has no works.
Syntax. They will look to me whom they
Look.
have pierced and mourned for him. Okay.
No, what is this?
Creates a theological
Some blank
challenge.
thing?
How is it that the divine speaker, okay,
Oh,
is
wait, hold on.
simultaneously me
Slakia. I thought those were just playlists of other videos. But let me see what. Let's see. Let's see now. So this is a history of Jehovah's wickedness. All right. Okay, so Slaki, I'll take that back. He does have a little bit of information. He does have a little bit of knowledge. Sure, but again, he still his knowledge is incomplete. All right, and also he's saying he's going off of more. Aboriginal, indigenous, Moorish, American freemen of its ancestral homeland, America, with the birthright to life. So it might be a so-called Native American / Gadite, all right? Maybe.
This is not merely a building.
This is fine. I think the music is fine.
It's a saint.
I will be one of the greatest. That is a vow, yeah, that is a promise. Later I will be ours. I keep you like love, cause then I get scary, then I get ugly, yeah. Ain't no problem, another equation.
Who is both Messiah and God.
Gotta get on your job, tell them haters get on your job, nigga.
Who is the king in Zechariah?
Okay, so
context, Zechariah
he does have some information, but he's not teaching our people to. It's more of like what's I don't know what the proper term is. It's like an information hub, like small pieces of information, not necessarily like true teaching. Let's see if he's talking. Of course he doesn't talk.
Fight against those nations. That's when he fights on the day of battle. In that day,
why not talk, man?
His feet. Wait a minute. His feet will stand on the Mount of Olives. So,
oh wait, yeah, he does not speak. He just puts up a bunch of information. Where honestly, that's a stumbling block, because a lot of people, they tend to go to reading lots of different books, and then these different books, it's like you always want to go on to the next book. Like, what can I learn from here? What can I learn from there? What can I learn from that? It's like you have to just stick to one thing. You have to start and stick to one thing, which the most important thing is the scriptures. All right, let's get this.
The claim is by the apologists.
So 2 Timothy 3 verse 7, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth, where the most important thing is to remember the Lord YAHAWAH, but the issue with that, the issue here is that he's not following after YAHAWAH, but rather he's following after his desire for, his desire for, just being this information hub. Oh, I know all these different stuff and stuff like that, but does all that information you accumulate, is that helping you to develop a better relationship with Yahawadah? Like, these are the things that we need to think about ourselves, okay? Because let me actually get a parallel.
The scripture. And I'm going to skip to verse 37.
We got a parallel.
Another scripture says, they shall look upon him whom they pierced. And so Zechariah chapter 12:10 is not going to be fulfilled in the future. It's
Luke
already happened. It was completely
chapter 12,
the Roman
verse
soldiers pierced Jesus. They looked at him. And so to say that this
19, and I will say to my soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But Yahweh said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth up treasure for himself and is not rich towards Yahweh. Basically, the parallel is you're trying to learn all these different things, but these are, as a matter of fact, let's get that over here. 1 Corinthians 3,
supposedly reporting the fulfillment.
verse 18, let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. So you're trying to be wise in the world, all right? And yeah, you might know all these different things that I probably don't know. I'm not ashamed to admit, like, I don't know what the fuck all these stuff about the Jehovah's wickedness, origins and stuff like that, and I didn't even bother reading about Moorish tradition and stuff like that. I did hear about it being so-called linked to so-called black people. I did hear about that, but I don't know too much on the details on it to actually make a judgment. But what I do know is that it's not the scriptures, and you're not most of your focus. According to this, it seems to be more leaning towards more, but rather than actually studying the scriptures. Because where is the stuff about the scriptures? Where are you breaking down the scriptures? Where are you prophesying for Yahawadah and Shah? Right? So that's where you have to actually like take the time in if you spent this much time studying the scriptures rather than studying all these other stuff, then I'm pretty sure you would be very big into a great teacher on the good side of Yahawadah and Shah. But rather instead you turn to learning about this instead. All right, learning about all these different Moorish stuff. All right, which that's a problem. That's an issue. So yeah. Okay, yeah. I guess he does. Let me see if he speaks. Never mind, he doesn't speak. Just a thumbnail. But you basically get the point. Alright, so yeah, this is just something to, remember, you can't just focus all your time on all this other information. Okay, maybe all that information might be good. It might help in certain cases, but you can't just spend all your time on that and not Yahawadah and Shah. Alright. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I will give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahawadah, Yahawadah, the Prophet, the honest, the elders, and apostles, and Nelson, and Shalom.